Okay, like this can just go on and on and on right here.
Yeah, we'll take, if you want to add anything, take your time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm sure that I'm leaving some out, but I think I'm ready.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so now we're going to go into our recording time. So I just press the recorder,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll start and then make introductions. Today is August 22nd, 2022. On average, there are 3,900 cases reported of COVID-19 throughout the week in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. Cases have decreased by 18% in the last 2 weeks in the county. Therefore, each subject in this interview is comfortable not to wear a mask. My name is Sarah, and I am the project manager for the Living Archives Project, which is a 3-year initiative of gathering, collecting, preserving, and sharing stories of how COVID-19 impacted different minority groups in Mecklenburg County. So I am sitting here today, and I will let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Sarah. I am Sonja Lee. I am actually an ordained reverend in the Unity Fellowship Church movement. I am also the executive director and founder of the Lionel Jr. Center for Wellness. I am also a community activist. I am many, many things. I wear many hats, I should say. And I'm glad to be here and be part of this project.
Thank you so much, Sonia. We really appreciate your story. Your voice is so important, and our archive is so thankful to have your voice be heard. And just thank you for everything you do in the community. It's amazing to see how many people you impact daily. So
Thank
the
you.
Lionel Lee Wellness Junior Center is
Yes.
quite remarkable. So Sonia, we just did an activity with your hand model. Would you like to kind of share something?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
So I'll share.
Perfect.
Right, I'll show you my hand, and there's lots going on here. Thank you for the activity, and it did help to kind of gather my thoughts and pull together some of my story. So I'm 69 years old. My timeline is long, so I'm gonna try to keep it within the bounds of this project.
Wonderful.
But I may
Please
cross the
deviate.
boundaries,
Yes.
just somewhat, yeah. But you can pull me back in.
Okay.
So, I guess just to get started a little bit about my background. I am from Washington D.C.
Okay.
and I moved to the Charlotte area. I moved to Charlotte in 1999 with my job. At the time, I was working with the American Red Cross National Headquarters. And I relocated here to stand up a shared services center. And I worked with Red Cross right up until 26 years, maybe 6 years ago,
Okay.
maybe 7 now. And it was a wonderful, wonderful move. My plan was to be here for 2 years and stand up the center and return back to the DC area. And apparently, Spirit had other plans. I'm still here. And I truly have found Charlotte to be a home. And I'm glad to be here. So I moved here in 1999 and helped to found the Unity Fellowship Church Charlotte. And I started my journey there as a founding member, and then an usher, and then a deacon, and on through the ranks until in 2014 I became the pastor of that local church. And it was an amazing, amazing journey. And I retired from the pulpit in 2018, and I am now pastor emeritus of that organization. And in 2005, I founded the Lionel Lee Jr. Center for Wellness, which is where I do my community service now. So, actually, 2005, my brother Lionel died. 2006, wanting somewhere positive to channel that grief and to honor his memory, I founded the organization. And our original mission was simply to help people with new diagnosis of chronic illnesses to obtain their medication. It was as simple as that. Um, if I can share a little bit about
Please.
my brother's passing,
Yeah.
Lionel was 50 in his mid 50s,
Okay.
and he belonged to an HMO,
Okay.
so he had health coverage,
Okay.
and it was very specific as to where he could get care.
Okay.
So he was experiencing chest pains, and he went to his HMO facility in Maryland, and they looked him over and they sent him home. A few minutes later, as he's making his way home, the pain intensified. He turned around to go back to the facility, and he never made it back into the office. So yeah, he died in his vehicle, and it devastated our family, as you can well imagine. And he was my big brother. Yeah, he was here when I got here, and he took care of me, and it was like I it was just devastating.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So I founded the organization to help people who were uninsured and underinsured, especially people with new diagnosis. In our community, diabetes, high blood pressure, they run pretty high in our community, and we found, and I say we because when I founded the organization, there were people who just could relate to the mission, and they just jumped on board, and our board grew kind of organically from the community,
Yeah.
and we had in common the desire to help people who did not have health insurance coverage. As this was pre-affordable Affordable Care Act,
Okay.
so there were many people, and there still are a lot of people here in the Carolinas
Yeah.
without coverage.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we found was people would contact us and say, "I just got diagnosed with high blood pressure. They gave me a prescription. My doctor gave me a prescription. It's not in my budget. Can you help me?" And yes, we helped. And that's what we still do, along with other services that we've been able to grow into. So kind of fast forward
Okay.
to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so
I can imagine.
yeah, so fast forward to 2020, into
Yeah.
2019,
I know.
in the beginning of 2020, when COVID 19 was declared by WHO and the CDC pandemic. And suddenly we have this dreaded, fatal, in many cases, disease in our community, and no one really knew what to do. No one knew what to do, including us, right? And I want to share from
Please.
my personal story. When I was in the military, I spent 3 years. I am a veteran, proud veteran
Wow.
of the U.S. Army. I spent 3 years in the military in the 70s. You're welcome. And I spent 2.5 years in Germany. And at the time of my rotating back to the States, I was required, mandated to take the swine flu shot. You probably don't know anything about swine flu, right? But
I know of it.
right,
Yeah.
I was required to take this
Okay.
this vaccine.
Yeah.
So I took this shot, and one of the side effects was the Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it paralyzed me for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Just took me out for 6 weeks. I could not walk. I couldn't support my weight. Now there was no pain involved, and Sarah, I share this because as a result of that experience,
Okay.
I would not take a vaccine for anything
Yeah.
from the mid '70s, late '70s rather,
Yeah.
until 2020. Yeah,
Your personal experience.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So no flu shots, no
Yeah.
nothing, no shots whatsoever,
Mhm.
except maybe what's that one they take so you if you step on a rusty nail. I would
What?
I would take that one.
TV. No. TV.
I would take that one.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll think of that one later.
Yeah.
But I would not take any flu shots. And so when the vaccine came out, I was like, oh no, we don't know enough about this thing. I'll stay away from people. Say I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can stay away from people. I do that very well. Um, and I just made a decision. I would not take the vaccine.
Okay.
And um, but as the numbers grew of fatalities, the
Mm-hmm.
number of fatalities grew. Um, I realized I would either have to change my mindset, take a chance on this vaccine that is proving itself to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
So people started pouring into my life,
Mm-hmm.
as you suggested. People who knew my story
Mm-hmm.
um, shared their experience with the vaccine. And then this amazing person, Suzanne Watts Henderson, came into my life,
Okay.
and she her energy and her desire to serve this community as well
Mm-hmm.
helped me to get to the place where I could take the shot.
Okay.
And I took the shot, and I did, and I had a good experience. There were
Great.
no side effects.
Great.
People were feeling fatigue and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I felt none of that, and I was then encouraged to share my story,
Mm-hmm.
so that others would know that yes, take the vaccine.
Mm.
It could save your life.
Mm.
It did. I believe that it did save my life.
Okay.
I really did. So I began to work with other community based organizations and volunteers to
Mm-hmm.
get the word out. Um, I worked with so many community based organizations. There's the NC Counts Healthier Together Coalition. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with them,
No.
but we work together to host pop up vaccine sites
Okay.
with StarMed, and
That's amazing.
yeah, it has
Yeah.
been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
It really has. And um, so some of the things that I wrote when you asked about some of the feelings, there was
Yeah.
fear,
Yes.
and there was a lot of fear when people were overwhelming the hospital systems and the healthcare systems, and just puzzled, where did this come from, and then all the political stuff and the division, and it was overwhelming.
I can imagine.
It was overwhelming.
And especially as you who work with people with healthcare, as
Exactly.
in general, I can imagine how overwhelming it
Yeah,
was.
it
Did
was.
you have a lot of people come to you, ask you questions? How was that?
One of the community members that we served at that time, especially in the beginning, there was a lot of fear in senior citizen
Mm.
populations. So, and several of our clients are seniors,
Mhm.
and they live in senior communities,
Mhm.
and many of them were afraid to leave their homes for their basic needs, to go to the grocery store, even to go to their doctor's offices,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. And that fear, and those that live alone, those that isolation, it was devastating, especially in that first year.
I can
So
imagine.
let me tell you how great this community is,
Please
though.
tell me.
So we were receiving calls. I don't have food.
Mhm.
Can you get some food here?
Mhm.
Um, the calls that were coming in were for the most basic needs. Can you get cleaning supply? Can we get some hand sanitizer? Can
Mm.
all of these
Yes.
type of
Toilet paper,
requests? Toilet
probably.
paper,
Oh my
yes,
goodness.
that was another huge
Yes.
one, right? Toilet paper, and I don't know if you well, sure you know MacMin. You
Yes,
got
I
to
know
know
McMahon.
MacMin, right?
Mhm.
They um, brought the community together, community leaders together, and community organizations together on weekly calls.
Yeah.
And I joined the calls, and I put out, the concerns and requests from our seniors in
Mhm.
particular, not just them, but in particular,
Yeah.
seniors and people with disabilities.
Okay.
Um, and I informed the community leaders in our sharing around the needs that we had for. Do you know things started showing up on my doorstep?
Wow.
Food, just
Wow.
boxes of food, toilet paper, um, You name it, it was started showing up,
Wow.
and the community just came together. I would get phone calls. Can we deliver to you, to your clients? Absolutely, yes. It
How amazing
it
is
was
that?
amazing. I can
Just to
tell
see
you.
the community rile together in a time of need and crisis
Right,
and support people who need it most.
right. And I was like, wow. It was wow, and it was thank you. There's so much gratitude I have for organizations like McMahon and NC Counts Coalition, Healthier Together, and United Way, and just just the way this community rallied together,
Mm,
it has been amazing.
mm,
It really has. And there are still needs out there. There are
yeah.
still these pockets in our
Oh, yeah.
community.
I mean, it's COVID 19. Maybe the lockdown has come and gone,
Yes.
but it still
Mm-hmm.
the virus itself
Mm-hmm.
still impacts us to this day. Still impacts communities, especially communities of need.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. So that's what we found. I have found that you have to make some choices. So in my personal case, I had to
Okay.
make a choice. Do I
Mm-hmm.
trust? Let me talk
Trust,
about the trust factor.
please.
We as African, in our African American community have had so many instances where we were violated.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. So trust was not real big in our community with
Yeah.
this. Oh, this vaccine is. Yeah, I don't know if I want to take this or not.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
But when I tell you, I had to overcome that
Mm,
level of mistrust
mm,
to take the vaccine, and then to be able to share my experience.
mm-hmm.
It was huge. It
Mm-hmm.
was very emotional. Um, I had to dig deep. I really did. But at the end of the day, it was a faith walk,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad that I have taken that and been able to share in our community.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge, and
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one.
Yes.
Many of us have overcome some of those challenges
Yeah.
that we faced early on.
And it's stories like yours, though, that are so powerful, especially with your experience with the swine flu vaccine and that trust factor. I mean, that is so real.
Right.
And that's just amazing that you can share your story and impact others in the community.
Yeah.
And so, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your
You're welcome.
experience.
You're welcome. Well, I'm glad to do this. I'm glad to be here. So let me tell you what. Just as a little aside, one of my safe spaces growing up
Okay.
was the library.
Okay.
So to know that the library is a partner in this project, that just resonates very deep with me. I love the library. So growing up, there were many places that we could not go.
Okay.
I grew up in the Jim Crow, Washington D.C., but still Jim Crow.
Okay.
There were places we could not go, but the library was one of our safe spaces.
Yeah.
And I would go to the library, and I love the books and just the feel and the environment. It's a safe place.
I'm so glad to hear you say that
Mm-hmm.
because that is truly what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a safe place for all people, anybody.
Agreed.
And so I'm glad that you have that personal experience.
Yeah.
In your personal life or here at the Wellness Center,
Mm-hmm.
what are some maybe positive things that
Mm-hmm.
kind of came out of
Yeah.
your pandemic experience?
Sure. Well, the community partnerships.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they have been amazing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that there have been many things, and one of the things that really has been impressive and has helped our community is the coming together across interfaith, no faith. Just this coming together has been amazing.
Mm.
It really has. Our organization, for the first time, received funding from in order to do our work,
Okay.
and that has been huge for us.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
We funded from actual funders.
Yes.
Prior to COVID, I think the only grant we had received was from the Foundation from the Carolinas Lesbian and Gay Fund, and that was
Okay.
several years ago.
Okay.
Um, we have lived off the 25, 50, $10 gifts from individuals in community since 2006.
Wow.
Yes, and that's how we that's how we serve the community. And now we're a little better position because of the funding from NC Counts and United
Yes.
Way and the Interfaith Youth Corps,
Mm.
and again, our individual donors have continued to support us financially. That's been amazing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's been amazing. The coming together with community events, multi generational community events. So
Wow.
we've had seniors and youth. I want to give a shout out to Alternatives. Their
Yeah.
drum corps. Do you know
Okay.
Alternatives?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Mm-hmm. Their drum
Yeah.
corps is amazing. They were out at our first COVID event. They
Okay.
came out and they drummed, and the entire community surrounding the Dream Center over on Village Lake Drive.
Yeah.
The entire community came out, and it was just amazing to see people who don't normally come together
Yeah.
come together. That's been
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm new to Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
and but what I've seen is truly, like you said, there's no barriers.
Mm-hmm.
So many groups of people from all walks of life are coming together to support one another, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
It really is.
It's kind of mind blowing, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
And that's incredible to see that growth of
Yeah.
where we came, and we're continuing to grow,
Yeah.
right? We're continuing to build those relationships.
Yeah. Those relationships have really been a blessing to community. We still have a long way to go,
Yes,
but
we do.
the other thing, we can at least talk about them and discuss them
Mm.
today in ways that when I moved here in 1999, it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of that, of course, is technology, advances in technology, and some of it is we're going to come together to deal with COVID. We're going to come together to deal with this pandemic, and it has been of benefit to the entire community, not just the marginalized, but the
Mm.
entire community. So I have seen, I have seen where we still have a lot of work to do
Yeah.
to bring the people that are on that basically live on the edges and on the perimeter of our community. We still have a lot of work to do to embrace everyone and
Mm-hmm.
to remove these barriers to access to quality health care,
Mm.
basic needs,
Mm.
housing.
Mm. Housing's a big one.
Yeah, housing is huge.
Huge. Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah. Um, so we have much to do,
Yeah.
and as we're coming together, we are developing the resources to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, combining resources to do it.
That's great.
I believe one of the things that one of the emotions that I wrote
Okay.
is we started out puzzled, and there's some fear, and then there's the being overwhelmed, and I have seen a lot of victory on the other side of this.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of it in my own personal life. That was a lot for me to take that shot, and then to go back and take the second shot, and then to
Booster.
go back and get the
Yes.
booster, and I'm like, whoa, Sonja, look at you.
I can
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
I love that word victory.
Mm-hmm.
That is beautiful,
Yeah,
Sonia.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Victory.
Right.
What are some other ways that you've seen victory?
Well, let's see. Let me talk about challenge first.
Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Then
Please.
we're gonna talk. Then I'll come back to victory. So they're kind of this kind of works together. I worked with a group in a day of advocacy um, in Raleigh recently. I went to Raleigh with North Carolina AIDS group, and we went to Raleigh to advocate for Medicaid expansion. That's a biggie for us, and support for HIV and AIDS services. So we got up to Raleigh, and we sat down with the representatives in our area, and each county had representatives, and they sat with their particular representatives and senators
Mm-hmm.
at the state level, and it was very challenging to get in the offices and have a conversation that was something other than confrontational. You could feel that energy in the air that we're on the left and we're on the right and we're doing this. And there's a lot of the combative energy. Um, but by the end of the day, we had spoken with um, two senators and two representatives, and there seemed to be a coming together,
Okay.
a meeting of the minds, if you will, of the people in the rooms that were seeking that were seeking um, an elimination or at least a reduction of these barriers to access. And do you know by the following week that there was a bill supported and passed through the the House to support Medicaid expansion? That blew me away. That
Wow.
blew me away. That there was some victory. There was some
Yes.
progress.
Yes. One
In
step closer.
yes, one step closer.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know. And okay, I'm unapologetically I'm thanking God.
Yes.
Yeah,
Please.
I'm thank
That
God
is a
for
victory.
each step.
Mm-hmm.
There was some victory in that advocacy and that coming together,
Mm-hmm.
and it was and again it was multiracial, it was multi generational. Um, Whatever our belief systems were, um, we came together, and we went to Raleigh, and there was victory.
Wow.
Yeah. The other piece I'd like to speak about victory is there's a community on Woodlawn Road of senior as a senior residence, and
Okay.
I'll put respect their privacy. Um, Many of them were afraid to come out. Now, on the other side of getting the shots and
Yeah.
the numbers waning, um, they're coming out and volunteering to be in and work in community to help support others. So we're starting this group called Senior Supporting Seniors,
Mm-hmm.
and for me and to me that there's victory in that. There's victory in that, where they found their own inner resources to say, you know what, I can't do everything, but I can do something.
Wow. That's amazing.
It has been an amazing journey. So
So do you feel like now in this season are older adults feeling more free to come out and not isolate as much as before?
I do
Do you
see
see
that. I
that?
do see progress in that area,
Okay.
and I also see a place for advocacy and support in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also see the same in our community of uh, people who are unhoused.
Okay.
Um, so I have right across the street a friend who needed help packing and moving heavy boxes.
Yeah.
I was able to contact our brothers in Roof Above
Okay.
and hired them for a
Yeah.
day's work, and they came out and they packed and they moved boxes and they got it done, and they were able to contribute as well as to receive wages for their labor.
Mm.
I'm telling you, it makes a difference from standing on the corner with, you know,
Yes.
when you can put your
Yes.
energy and resources into a day's work. It makes a difference.
It does.
It really does.
Makes a difference in how
Right.
you see yourself and others
Right.
too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to say that we've been able to tap into areas where people who once felt like they didn't have anything to offer,
Mm-hmm.
now they know they do.
They do.
There's
That's
victory
powerful.
in that.
Yes.
Yes, it's very powerful. And just to see that, oh, it just blesses my soul. It really does. And to be
Yeah.
a part of that, I hope that someone that will hear this and know that regardless of how little you might have or how someone has told you, oh, you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too skinny, whatever it might be, that is not the truth. The
Mm.
fact of the matter is, we all have something of value to contribute to this society.
Speak it, Sonia.
Yes.
Speak
We
that
do.
truth. I agree with you
Yeah.
1000%. I love that. So I want to honor your time and
Sure.
respect your time. Is there anything else you wanted to just finish or add before we come to an end?
Um, I think I've pretty much covered it. I just want to thank our community.
Mm.
I want to thank you, Sarah, for reaching out to me and the organization, and I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
helping to send people your way that
Yeah.
have a story to tell. There are many,
Yes.
many stories to tell,
So many stories.
so many, and I just encourage you to stay in the press, and if
Yes.
it's anything I can do to assist, I will gladly do it.
And I just want to reiterate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking time and sharing your personal story as well as the story of the Wellness Center and just how, I mean, your story is incredible, Sonja. So it is so valuable, and I am so appreciative of your time and meeting you and connecting to you and just hearing about all the amazing, amazing work you're doing here in the community. Thank
It's
you.
my
And thank
pleasure.
you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you.